Hi, I'm Lucy, mum to identical twin boys, and today I'm going to take you through our 3 to 6 month routine. Our boys are actually 7.5 months old. They were 6 weeks premature, so they've just turned the corrected age of 6 months, and we tend to go off their corrected age as we're doing things. So we're just starting to move away from this routine now. They've just dropped a nap and we've just started weaning, so it's all change, and I just wanted to document our 3 to 6 month routine before we move away from it. So this routine applies whether you have 1 baby, 2 babies or more, and I got the routines from a book called The Sensational Baby Sleep Plan by Alison Scott Wright. The book is based on a single baby, but she does say in the book you can use it for twins as well, which is what we've done. So in this age range, I believe that babies should be getting around 12 to 16 hours sleep in a 24-hour period. For us, that looks between 10 and 12 hours overnight, and then usually around 3 hours of napping throughout the day, maybe a little bit more on a good day. So we also use wake windows as a bit of a guide, and for us it was around 2-hour wake windows that were the sweet spot. The boys would just get a little bit irritable, a little bit upset, and we'd know, oh, it's time for a nap. And the 2-hour wake windows fitted in nicely with the book as well. It seemed to be what Alison was suggesting in the book, so it really has worked perfectly for us. So let's get into the routine. I'm going to go through 12 hours from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So at 7 a.m. we start our day, and we'd wake the boys up at this time if they weren't already awake. Sometimes they are stirring by this time, and they tend to just sort of chatter and babble away to each other in their cots, which is great because we can finish getting everything ready and bring the bottles up to their nursery, which is where we have the feed. They currently still sleep in our bedroom, so we would wake them up in our bedroom, take them through to the nursery for a nappy change and for their first bottle of the day. They're currently drinking around 8 ounces of formula per bottle. They're on an anti-reflux formula because they had really bad reflux when they were newborns. So after this bottle, we then have playtime in their bedroom. I usually read them a few stories and then set up a little mat on the floor where they can play with some different toys each day. Sometimes I'll do a little bit of baby yoga, baby massage, or just sing some nursery rhymes, anything like that to entertain them in little different ways each day. And then we start to get ready for their first nap. I tend to try and make the room a little bit sleepy around 8:30 a.m. by putting the blackout blind up, turning a red light on, playing some softer lullabies, and then I plan to get them down for their first nap to start at 9 a.m. So we aim for around an hour and a half for the first nap, so I wake them up at 10:30 if they're not awake at that time. Usually one of them has woken up at this point, and I try and just have some downtime with them, carry them around in the baby carrier, put them in the swing, just something that's not too stimulating while the other one's still sleeping. And I tend to give the other one an extra half an hour longer and then wake them up, because when I put them down for the next nap I can do it like 15 minutes earlier, so it's sort of in the middle, if that makes sense, for the twin that's been up longest. So one's 15 minutes tired and one's going to bed 15 minutes early. So at 10:30 a.m. we get up and dressed for the day, and we then head downstairs for their second bottle of the day, which is at 11 a.m. Bottle, if we're going out to a class or anything, this would be the time that we do it. Any like awake time visits I tend to do at this time as well, so I give them the bottle at 11, and then that takes us through till 12:30, which is when they're going to be ready for the next nap. Sometimes I do put them down a little bit later for this nap if we are out and about, just to try and make it work with our schedule. So the 12:30 nap is the big nap of the day. We aim for around 2 hours to 2.5 hours for this nap, which is on a good day. There are days where they only do 40 minutes or an hour, and we just have to work with what we've got on the day, but we do aim for a solid 2 hours here. And we most often do this, or we did most often do this nap on a walk in the pram. They slept so well in the pram, and it was really good for me to get outside each day. It really helped my mental health, and I could also walk one of the dogs at the same time, so that was really helpful. As they've got older, they are less likely to settle in the pram for a long period of time, so I do put them down in their cots more so these days, and I just use the same sort of sleepy time routine that I did for the first nap to get them ready for the lunchtime nap at home. So usually they're awake and we're home by 2:30 p.m, and I then change their nappies and get them ready for the next feed at 3 o'clock. After this feed, they have some more playtime, so they'll play on the mat in our living room and have a little kickabout, practice their rolling, do some tummy time, and then 4:30 p.m. is time for the last nap of the day, which is a little bit more like a power nap, and we've tended to do this one on the go as well, as it's a good opportunity to walk our older dog, and we would either put the boys in the carriers to take them on the dog walk, or if I was on my own I would take them in the pram, and it's just a 30-minute power nap, so 4:30 till 5, sometimes it was 5 till 5:30, just depending on our schedule that day. So when we got in from this nap, at this point we were eating dinner around 5:30, 6 p.m, and we would have the boys at the table with us. We have the Hawk high chairs that have the newborn seat on top, so they would sit in their seats at the table to get them used to sitting at the table, and they would watch us eat our dinner, which I believe is quite good for them to see you eating. So we'd always have dinner time together, and then after dinner I would go and get their bath ready whilst Jack, my husband, would entertain the boys. They usually listen to some music at this point, and then we would take them upstairs for their bath. So we usually start their bath at about 6:15 p.m. with an aim to be giving them their bottle between 6:30 and 7 p.m. That's the last bottle of the day. And after this bottle, we then rock them to sleep. Because they've had reflux, we have to keep them upright for half an hour after feed. So it's just nice to have a cuddle and rock them a little bit at this point. They then fall asleep and we put them down in their cots in our room. And that is it. They then sleep through the night from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So that is the full day for our 3 to 6 month routine. I really love that routine. I feel like we've been with it for a really long time. Moving away from it now is quite sad. They've just recently moved into their seats in their pram rather than their bassinet as well. So it's all changed around here, but I'm starting to enjoy the new routine now, and I will do a video on that soon as well. If you have any questions, please pop them in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.